Welcome to the Hear and Heard podcast. I am your podcast host, Emily. I want this to be a safe space for all women to tell their stories, grieve the hard parts, and celebrate themselves. Thank you for being here.
Hello, welcome to the Hear and Heard podcast. I'm sitting with Kylee. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. So you and I just met last month.
I didn't say a month ago.
At your gym. You and your husband own a gym. Tell me just a little bit about that.
Northland Fitness. It's kind of funny because it fits in a little bit. Northland Fitness is a gym that my husband and I opened, or I should say my husband, he took on the front load of opening it, but now we work and co-own our business together.
Yeah.
But that business happened because we unexpectedly got pregnant 6 months into our relationship.
No way.
And so the gym was born out of like, oh shoot, like we got to figure something out. We need to start building a life. It was unplanned, but we were totally excited and on board for having her. And so now we're going to do this. And so, yeah, we secured the lease for the gym when she was like 2 weeks old. It was a crazy time. And it worked out so well because building the business while she was so young created a lot of flexibility for Griff to be there for the first 6 months to a year, which was really, really cool. It all worked out so perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about finding out you're pregnant. So tell me about pre-pregnancy, finding out you're pregnant, all of that.
Yeah. I love our story because it just fits so perfect. When me and Griff met, when me and my husband met, we talked so much about like, universe signs.
Yeah.
That just this is right. And so the universe signs around my pregnancy was we were looking for a house for the two of us, just a little house.
Okay.
And so we'll live in this house for a while, start our lives together, and then we'll have a family. And the day that we got our offer accepted on our first house, I started getting so many targeted ads on Instagram that was baby stuff, maternity clothes. And I remember that day just being so weird that, I don't know. And again, maybe this is just the universe or me looking for something, but all that to say, we got our offer accepted on our house and we were going out to dinner. Let's go celebrate. Went and got sushi and I had sushi and some alcohol and then started thinking about it while we were at dinner and maybe we should go to Walgreens on the way home. And he's like, and so did that. Went into my apartment. We weren't even living together at this point. Went into my apartment, took the pregnancy test without telling him, and was standing in my bathroom, and he thought I was just like packing a bag to go stay the night at his house.
Oh my gosh! And you were,
and then I just went over to his apartment and was like, "Hey,
oh my Atlanta!"
So good thing we bought a house.
Yes.
And so that was like, I found out we were pregnant like 2 hours after we got approved for a house. It was so funny.
So your like celebration dinner for your house was also
we got a lot to be excited for.
Atlanta.
It was so fun. Just the way things always play out.
So did you guys plan to buy a house after 6 months together?
Yes. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So
Cool.
you guys just knew.
Yeah. It's really good. But it feels so good. So.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me early pregnancy. How did you feel?
Yeah.
How did you guys navigate all that?
It was a little shocking at first, obviously. Something that we had talked about down the line, we will totally do this together.
Yeah.
And so it was fine in that this is something that we wanted, just a little way, a lot earlier than we expected. But it was, I was gonna say fun for lack of a better word, like really exciting. Like I remember the next day we were at the laundromat doing our laundry together, Googling what doctors we need. Like when do you go to the doctor? Who do you call first? Like, and that's when I brought up to my husband too that like a goal of mine ever since I was little, like young teenager was I want to have a home birth. And so that's when I brought up to him, here's a vision that I've had for myself. And he was like, no.
Of course.
He's like, I don't like that idea.
Yeah.
That makes me nervous. I care too much about you. That feels risky.
Okay.
And so, and I was like 4, 5, 6 weeks pregnant. And so let's just leave it,
table it. We'll come back.
We'll come back later.
Yeah.
And so that's when we sort of go at like 8 weeks or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so just started talking about when we were going to tell people, tell our families, and just kind of getting prepared to move into our house and then get our house ready for the kid.
So let's go back. Why was that vision? Is there something that inspired the vision of you having a home birth?
I'm
Or-
trying to remember where it ever came from. I've just always been my personality growing up as a little kid was very like activist,
Yeah, okay.
radical, like
Hippie
I've
maybe?
always, yes,
Yes.
I was like 12 and go green, go peace, recycle. And so I think it just fit into like the vibes that I felt like I was.
Yeah.
But like growing up, and I've talked to my husband about this, I've had career goals and things like that. I knew I wanted to help people.
Yeah.
But when I was 13, 14, thinking about what does my future look like, daydreaming in my brain, it was me with kids on a porch. And so I don't totally remember where the home birth, like where I learned about it
Yeah.
or where I knew that
Yeah.
that was an option, but I just loved how radical it was and how it was just so much about you and the baby and
Not all
and
the
not
other
all of,
things.
and you're at home.
I love that.
And I think the way that I thought about it too was I just love to question authority and systems.
Yes.
If people have always had babies for a really long time,
You know, having them up.
like what's the difference now between then? And obviously there are differences and
Yes,
like
yes.
the hospital is important and medical care is important.
Right.
And I just was kind of curious about it.
Yeah. Okay. How did you feel physically, mentally, emotionally during pregnancy?
I remember the first trimester I was sick all the time. I have a album in my phone called Baby Barfs, and I would take a picture anytime I was at a toilet throwing up, and I'd send it to my husband and be like, "Hey, that's me." So I was very fatigued, very tired, did a lot of sleeping on the floor at like 6 p.m. at night, and my husband would have to like get me up to bed. And then after the first trimester was done, it was awesome.
Good.
A really nice complex piece of my pregnancy was I was also recently recovering from an eating disorder.
Oh,
And so
wow.
it was
Okay.
so crazy, very connection. I don't know what I'm looking for, but I connected with my baby in a way that like my eating disorder was just gone. Recovery was easy peasy. I could eat whatever. I had no fears, no anxieties, no physical symptoms around eating.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so like she kind of saved
Healed
me
you.
a little bit, like
Yeah.
really, really
Oh my gosh.
helped
I have
me.
goosebumps.
Yeah, me too. I was like, I have like a little letter that I wrote to her when she was still in my tummy, just being like, all I needed was you to like
Oh
help
my
me
gosh.
feel like I was worth food and
Yeah.
nourishment, and that was really
That
a
is
big piece.
so amazing.
Yeah,
Oh
it was
my laptop.
really.
Thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. I just think it's so interesting, and I've met other people with eating disorders who have had babies too, and they felt the same way of, yeah,
Just
as
like
soon as
clicked
you
off.
figure out that there's that little baby inside of you, you're like, nope, I need, well, they need literally everything. I need everything so that I can give that to them.
I love
It is
that.
really
That is not something that I've ever thought about, how you would
Mhm.
navigate that with an eating
Yeah.
disorder or recovering from one.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I guess I don't know how that is for other people, but the few people that I've talked to that were in similar boats, what a way to connect back to your body. Again, just
Yeah,
thinking about connection and all that.
truly. I love that.
Mm.
Okay, so let's go back to the home birth.
Yeah.
How did you start and when did you start re-navigating
Yeah.
those conversations?
So my husband was very, no way, not at all.
Yeah.
We're going to a doctor. I care too much about you.
Yeah.
I love you. I will, you like, I'm not gonna let you die.
Just like big protector.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. And so that's totally valid to want that. Like, let's explore our options. Like, so I did start with an OB at like chest.
Okay.
And so I started with a midwife, actually. I don't think
Okay.
I ever saw an OB. I think
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I was like, what if we compromise? I'll get a
Do the
midwife at
midwives,
the
yeah.
hospital, and then we'll go from there. And so we met with a midwife, and then also I asked him to take a birthing class that isn't
yeah.
offered anymore, but it was called Your Badass Natural Birth.
What?
And it was these two birth
Cool.
educators out of California that did a class on Zoom. And they weren't necessarily like, this is for home birthers, but they were
Yeah.
very, very good about these are all of the options. This is how you get informed consent in a medical setting.
Versus a hospital birth class
Yeah.
is really geared towards hospital births and compliance, maybe.
Of,
You know,
these are the things that we
this is
might
what,
do
yeah,
to you,
right.
or these are the things that you might encounter. Whereas this place was like, here are things that will be offered to you, and here's how to ask questions about
Yeah.
them. Here's how to understand what's being told to you.
Yeah.
Here's how to understand maybe the perspective that the provider is coming
Yeah.
from. And so it was halfway through that class that my husband looked at me and was like, "Okay, you can have her at home." What? I was like,
Oh my goodness.
yes, that's what I was
love
looking for.
it.
And so I worked with a midwife at the hospital for a while.
Okay.
And what actually ended up, I was kind of teetering back and forth. We were
Yeah.
both on board. And I brought up to one of the midwives at the hospital, I've been thinking about a home birth. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Mhm.
And her answer is what got me to go home.
Yeah.
Her answer was, like, you can do that if you want. She said, but let me just put it this way. If you had a 99% chance that you could let your young toddler run across the road and they'd be totally fine, but there's a 1% chance that they get hit and killed, do you want to take that chance? That's what she said to me.
That's disgusting.
And I said, that proves my point right there. You're using my child who's not even born yet against me to scare me into a decision.
Yeah.
And so that was validating enough. And I sent Essentia a not nice follow-up serval.
Like, what a perfect opportunity as a provider to be like, tell me why you're thinking this.
Yeah.
Tell me more. Let's talk through this together as a team.
Yeah.
Because regardless of which route you go, she should want you to be safe and healthy, your baby be safe. And sometimes it doesn't, sometimes the hospital birth is not the best way.
Yeah.
And to scare you off like that,
Yeah.
maybe somebody would be like, meh, I'm not going to hire any providers. I'm just going to do it all by myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I could have
Like
been
it
like,
would just
F all of you.
have all of you and no midwives, no doula, nothing.
Yeah.
And just like free birth.
Yeah.
That's so disappointing. That's so disappointing.
It was, yeah, a big bummer in that I was really hoping that I would get some support in making that choice.
Yeah.
Right? Especially when we're so, this is what we think we want to do, but my husband's still a little nervous. So yeah, he didn't love that answer. And I just got angry.
Yeah.
Just kind of used it to I love fuel my rage against systems. Yeah. Be like, see, you're all proving my point. And so that's when I really, really, really dug into, okay, we're going to call a midwife.
Okay.
And so
Outside of the hospital.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so we researched midwives, and the midwife that we like landed on, she does her own at-home midwife practice. So all of
Okay.
my appointments were in her home or in my home, but
Nice.
she has a really extensive OB background.
Okay.
And so she's medically trained. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes midwives don't have to have like a medical degree. Like they
Right.
can go through like a traditional midwife. She
Right.
had a medical degree. She was a doctor
No
who
way.
got sick of working in systems
What?
and left to start her own midwife practice. And so that's why we landed with her.
What? That's so perfect.
Yeah. Her name is Katie Sandell. It's like Lake Superior Midwifery. I think she's
Katie Sandell.
I was like, Katie Sandell, love you. I think she's stopped work.
Okay.
Like, I think she no longer takes new clients on, but
Okay.
she did tell me, like, if you ever have another baby, like, call me. And I was like, it's too long.
Yes.
I'm calling you. And so once we got connected with her, we were just like, she came to our house, met with us, just talked to us.
Did you interview multiple midwives, or did you just kind of do all this research, find her, interview, and then it worked?
Found her because of the medical background or
Yeah.
her experience is what Griffin felt was a good compromise for him.
Yeah.
Because he still wasn't like, woohoo, home birth, but
Yeah.
he was more understanding of my perspective and why
Yeah.
I wanted it.
Yeah.
And so that felt safest to
Mhm.
him. Okay, I feel like I can lend some trust to her
Yeah.
versus somebody else. And so
Well, and I think that's like one of the biggest things, especially for partners, is that, you know, not only are you watching your partner give birth and go through all this, and maybe you feel a little helpless, but then if you're at home, you might even feel more helpless. I'm your protector. I have to do everything I can to make sure you're okay.
Yeah, exactly. If I was in a hospital and something went wrong, there's all of these people who are going to step in and take control. Whereas if you're at home,
Right.
you've got the two midwives
Mhm.
and your doula and the partner, and
Right.
that's it. And so
Right.
he felt very wanting to be prepared of if this, then that. We talked through so many
That's so nice.
scenarios with our
Okay.
midwife.
Yeah.
Of like, what if this starts to happen? What if she, you know, just thinking of all the worst case
Yeah.
scenarios
Yeah,
that we don't
right.
need to put out there, but
Yeah.
like was very upfront with the midwife of what do these things look like.
Yeah.
And the thing that was really helpful for him was our midwife talked a ton about like she doesn't look for red flags, she looks for pink flags.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
so these are pink flags that would make me start to be concerned, that would start to get us to go to the hospital.
Gotcha. Oh,
And
okay.
so she was very on the same page of Griff of if things start to look like they're not going to work at home, we will absolutely transfer to the hospital.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
here's the plan of how you
Okay.
transfer to the hospital.
Okay.
And so there was a very concrete plan in place
Yeah.
of if this happens,
Mhm.
this is how we're going to get there. Or if this happens, we're going to call 911 and this is how we're going to get there versus
What
like
an
transporting yourselves.
amazing provider to be able to have.
She is so good.
Like, have the security of medical background. I'm looking for pink flags, not red flags. But then also wanting to help home births succeed, help you feel
Yeah.
good about your birthing experience.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
My whole birth story, I just feel like I lucked out to the max with all of it.
The
It's so
universe.
good. The universe provided. She
Oh my
provided.
goodness. Okay, so now let's talk through more the end of pregnancy, preparing for birth, preparing things, your mind, all of that.
We had a doula.
Mhm.
She was so helpful. Amanda Lambert. It's
Oh yeah.
Sacred Space Birthkeeping or
Yes.
Birthkeeper. She's amazing because she would come to our prenatal appointments with just all of these questions that we hadn't considered. Have you thought about
Yeah.
the vitamin K? Have you thought about
Yeah.
whatever, all of those things? What comfort measures do you guys want to use?
Mhm.
Things like that. So she was a huge piece of our planning. And then my midwife was the one who was, here's the list of things.
Yeah.
Get all of these things.
Okay.
Put them together.
Yeah.
And so we had multiple Rubbermaid tubs of tarps
Surprise.
and towels and hoses and connectors like that just like lived in the living room or like
So that
the
they were
area.
ready. Yeah. Yeah.
So that they were just kind of out and ready if we ever needed them or when we needed them.
Yeah.
And then things that I did, we did another birthing class. We did take
Okay.
evidence-based birth through Doulas of Duluth.
Yep.
And that was really great too to talk about different comfort measure options.
Yeah.
I remember I ended up just picking out all my favorite snacks, making
Yeah.
my space ready for
Yeah.
me, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that was really fun to get to kind of curate my own space. So I had all
Right.
my favorite snacks. I had all my favorite
Right.
treats. I had made up a bunch of mantras or
Like affirmations.
I like spent 3 hours one night on Canva making a bunch of really pretty affirmations and then printed them out at work and like hung them up around my kitchen. And so I was doing a lot of like really intentional like space setting. And then towards the end of my pregnancy, I went to 41 weeks.
Okay.
I was huge. And so my favorite part of Lemon's birth story is I was 41 weeks. And so my midwife was like, hey, why don't you just go get an NST, non-stress test,
Yep.
just get a little peek at her.
Yeah.
I'm not worried. I would just like some data to go off
Yeah,
of
right.
because you're at 41 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool beans, sounds good. I was waiting in the lobby at Essentia OBGYN and I stood up and my water broke.
What?
As I was walking back to get my ultrasound and NST, my water broke at Essentia.
That is so funny. And also because like that's kind of the thing that happens in movies, like your water breaks randomly at work. And I've never heard somebody where their water broke not in labor.
And so I felt like I think if I remember correctly, the NST, they were like, you're having really like little contractions. Like I was not feeling them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I thought I peed my pants. And so I like laid down on the ultrasound table and I like looked at Griff and I was like, my pants. So the tech did, and I was like, hey, can I go to the bathroom? I think I peed my pants. And she's like, yeah, okay, sounds good. And so I'm in the bathroom and I'm like sniffing my underwear. Did I pee? And I was like, I don't think I peed my pants.
Oh
And
my gosh. Okay, so it was not my water broke.
Yeah, it was like trickling down a little bit. It wasn't
like
not like movie ash on the floor.
Yeah, right.
But it was like, oh, that's. And
uncomfy.
so what ended up happening was I'm on the ultrasound table and I tell the tech, hey, I think my water broke. And the tech's like, that's not my job. Like, the tech was like, I'm here to do an ultrasound. And so let's just do the ultrasound since we're here. And so I literally was just like slowly leaking out on the ultrasound table. And I think she was like, maybe you did pee. And I was like, no, I think it's not pee.
Yeah.
But long story short, systems she told me that because the ultrasound had started, she had to see a finger or a toe move before they would let me leave.
What?
And my baby is obviously not moving at that point because she's getting ready to, she's
Yeah.
conserving her energy. So she was very chillax, like, and I sat on the ultrasound table for probably 45 minutes waiting
What?
for,
As you're just leaking?
as I'm just like, yeah, I have pictures I can show you. It was so frustrating. My husband was about to be like, we're going.
Yeah.
But then she moved a little finger or
Okay.
something. And so then I did my NST. And at this point, they were like, yeah, you're in labor. And I was like, yeah,
I know.
I know.
Thank you.
Hello.
Sorry that.
And so I got a sheet that I got to wrap around my waist as I was doing my NST. And then they were like, so usually we would just tell you to go to the mother baby center, but looks like you're going to just go home. And I was like, yeah, I'd like to. And so they got me a wheelchair and I got wheeled out of the hospital